Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast presented by Bolin Media. I'm Ross Bolin here with producer Kade Orris. Kade, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. To start today's show, I want to acknowledge that I dropped the ball in acknowledging Chicken Leg Pride Month this year. Waiting until 20 days into June to take the time to acknowledge my brothers and sisters in Chicken Leg Nation is completely unacceptable, and for that, I apologize. I was distracted by all the horse shit.
It's been a lot of horse shit.
All the horse shit, dude, going on in the world this past several weeks. Just a bunch of horse shit. And also my birthday and Father's Day, and then I got sick. But I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you them. And I should have been more on top of this. People with chicken legs are among the best and brightest in our society today. Kendrick Lamar has chicken legs, I recently noticed.
I didn't know that.
Our boy Armin Kaleshian.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, he posted a pic with them.
Famed celebrity photographer out there in L.A., California way.
Mm-hmm.
He got together with Kendrick yesterday on the anniversary of the Pop-Out show and took some photos with him.
Oh, yeah.
Kendrick's wearing shorts.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a brother of mine. One of us. He is like us. More specifically, like me.
Yeah.
Not you.
Not so much like me.
You're just an ally.
Yeah.
A noted ally of Chicken Leg Nation, but not like us.
No.
But Kendrick is. Also Zendaya.
Okay.
And Victoria Beckham. And Hugh Jackman.
He's a short king, too, so he's double pride for him.
Who, Kendrick?
No. Well, yeah, Kendrick and Hugh Jackman.
He's short?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I think so. Pretty sure he's short.
Google Hugh Jackman height for me, and we'll find out. But Kendrick's...
Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say.
6'2". You know what? Because he plays Wolverine, and Wolverine is a short king. But Hugh Jackman is not short, so I apologize.
How does that work? Does he shrink when he's Wolverine?
Well, no, he just was his height. It's just...
Like in the comics?
Yeah, he's super short in the comics.
Like as part of the canon?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I got confused.
So the
there.
movies are not canon accurate is what you're saying?
No, not really.
Because Hugh's 6'2".
He is 6'2".
But he does have chicken legs.
He does have chicken legs.
We got rappers, dancers, professional athletes, actors, scientists, even President Roosevelt, though his were because of polio. Slightly different.
But you're accepting of everyone, regardless of how
Yes.
they got their chicken legs.
Doesn't matter how they came about. If you're one of us, you're one of us. We are often mocked behind our backs, sometimes right to our faces, because our lower limbs appear less ample and strong than those of our thick-legged counterparts. But there is beauty in having thighs that have never touched and calves that are nearly non-existent. For example, it's easier for us to put on pants
Yeah.
and squeeze between people in crowds at concerts.
Huge, very important things.
Two big wins there.
Yeah, there you go.
For us. We contribute just as much to the world as the rest of you, if not more. We pay the same taxes. We feel the same emotional ups and downs of life. We are fathers and mothers and daughters and sons, and we deserve the same level of respect and the same rights as the rest of you. So for the next 10 days, because I forgot to mention this the first 20 days of June, remember, this is Chicken Leg Pride Month, and we deserve love just like everyone else. Now it's time for another edition of Let the Hate Out. We haven't done one in several weeks.
No.
And I had something happen to me on the way to work today that reminded me of a deep, deep hatred I carry in my heart. This week I hate people who drift left before turning right or drift right before turning left. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kade?
Kinda. Not
So
really, though.
I'm cruising along.
Yeah.
Driving my vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Person in front of me goes over into the turning lane that is directly to my left. So they are now in the lane to my left so that they can make a left turn. And just before making that left turn, they come slightly back out to the right, almost into my lane, to get a better angle on the left turn. Now do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Why are people doing this so fucking often? This is the third time this week that I experienced this. And people who go slightly right to make a left turn angle a little bit more comfortable, I get what you're doing, but you can only do this if there's nobody next to you. Like if you check your rearview mirror or whatever, your side mirror, and you see there are no other cars, then fine, if you must. But you can't just do this if you're in a highly trafficked area and if there are people in the lane right next to you because there are other cars on the road. It's selfish behavior.
Yeah.
You're bettering your situation at the cost of my situation, making my shit worse, putting me in danger so that you can get a slightly better angle, a totally unnecessary move to make, okay? I'm telling you, thrice this week, I've almost been hit by people that are doing this. Just fucking turn. Just fucking turn. The rest of us are doing it without this weird overcorrecting fucking angle cheating move that you're making. Just turn left or turn right. You don't need to swing your vehicle the opposite direction to make a tighter angle. You don't need to do it. The cars can do this. They can make the turn without you doing this. I promise you, I've been driving the correct way my entire life. Well, that's not necessarily true, but most of the time, and I've never done this. I've also never gotten a speeding ticket.
Oh, you haven't been hitting your Shador Sanders?
No.
Ever?
No.
Not going over a hundo?
No, I don't think I've ever touched 100.
I don't think I have either.
I guess my car now probably could,
Mm-hmm.
but like, I have enough anxiety behind the wheel. I don't need that,
No.
you know?
Right.
And this is the only car I've ever had that could. Like,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no way my prior cars could have hit 100 miles an hour without like something horrible happening.
Like it just exploding.
Well, like the Expedition I had, when I'd get above like 75, 80 miles an hour, it would start to shake.
Yeah. And start making noises you haven't heard before.
Yeah, you don't want to push it too far,
Yeah.
you know? And then the Lexus ES I had was very old. I don't think it could have done it either. But yeah, shout out to Shador Sanders. Didn't even make it to his first NFL day, really, officially, to his first official NFL season without was it 165 he was going? 35 over the limit?
I thought he was just going like 101 or something. I don't think he was going.
In a 65 mile an hour speed
he's going
limit.
35 over. Okay,
Yeah. Anyway, just fucking turn. It's fine. I should also note my wife does this, and I do not hate her. I love her very much, but honey, you have to stop doing this. It's dangerous. I'll notice her do it in the car, and it's one of those things where like backseat driving causes a lot of resentment between couples.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, stereotypically, women are always telling men how to drive, and actually, when I drive my wife around, I'm in a Tesla. It's got a screen, a big iPad.
Yeah.
Right there, smack dab in the middle of the fucking dashboard, right?
Tells you where all the cars and any
Big
other
ass
objects
GPS,
are around.
big
Yeah.
map. And then, so on the map, it shows me the route.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the blue line guiding me along to my destination. And then there is also a straight up box in the corner that says my next turn and how far away it is. And it's got the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. It's like a little, you know.
Yeah, it's like a little map.
You know.
Thing. Yeah, you know. The directions.
When I'm approaching a turn,
Yeah.
she points.
Like, oh,
She'll
you need
point.
to turn here.
She doesn't speak.
Oh. Just.
Points, like, very visibly for me.
Mm-hmm.
Points. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. I know the
Yeah.
screen. And she would argue that it's because I missed turns, but like, when's the last time I missed a turn? She's not here to answer. But I don't. And she points. Anyway, I don't want to say anything when she does this, like, this slight swerve into the other lane. But I'm like, at some point, some asshole is going to fucking hit us.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't do this. You just
I've
shouldn't do
noticed
it.
this, like, mostly when people turn left.
Yeah.
It's not so much right, but, like, I'm sure it happens. But, like,
No, for some reason, it's usually left turns that I notice this happening.
but, like, there'll be times where, like, people get in, like, a left turn lane and, like, their bumper will, like, still be in the lane I'm in, and then I have to get around them because I don't want to hit them. But then, like, I'm also, like, starting to get into
Then
the
you're
other one.
overcorrecting.
Yeah, because I don't want to hit them, but then it's like I got to get around that car.
It's
and
a
then
domino
another car.
effect.
Yeah, and it's just very stressful. I don't need that stress.
We got enough problems on the road. This one is so unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I got stuck at a light. I was in the right turn lane, stuck at a red light. I'm the car behind the car at the front, and the car at the front is not turning right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the turn lane and they're not turning. And I try not to get angry about this because I've been guilty of this many a time. This is one of the rules of the road that I do break because I like being first.
Yeah.
So sometimes if the right lane is a turn lane and it's open and I'm not turning, I'll still hop over into that bad boy, especially if I can see there's nobody coming up behind me. Mm-hmm. But this fucker was in the other lane, the lane to the left of that, as I was approaching. And just wanted to get 2 cars further ahead to save, 0.08 seconds on their trip. So he hopped over into the turn lane, which cost me multiple minutes. Mm-hmm. And I was just sitting there fuming.
Yeah.
And I don't need reasons to be angry because of all the bullshit, the horse shit.
All the horse shit that's going on.
It's already there.
Yeah. You don't need to add more.
Don't need to add to it, man. Just drive with some compassion for the other people on the road. You know? You can do it. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard.
Grab your light. This is Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Today's Stuff to Wikipedia when you're high is a guy named Lou Pie. That rhymed.
It did rhyme.
Triple.
Look at you, Dr. Seuss.
Triple. Lou Pie was born in China. In 1947. He moved to America at 2 years old. He got his BS and master's in economics from the University of Maryland. And Pie worked for the federal government, primarily at the United States Security and Exchange Commission in the 1970s before joining Enron. It's a nice little career path from the SEC to one of the most notorious SEC violating companies in the history of the country, Enron. Do you remember Enron?
I don't know anything about Enron.
So this is before your time.
Okay.
Enron was this massive energy corporation based in Houston, Texas, where I lived. And the stadium that the Astros still play in, before it became Minute Maid Park, it's now Daikin Park, which is like an air conditioning company from China and not cool. But before it became Minute Maid Park, it was Enron Park. And it just said Enron in huge letters in the outfield. And then Enron ceased to exist and they had to change that. But point is, if you grew up in Houston or if you lived in Houston or if you were just of age when this all happened in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, can't remember exactly, it was a huge international story. This is a massive, massive company that went down because of a shit ton of fraud and faulty business practices. So our boy Lou Pie, he joined the infamous Enron in 1987, the year of my birth. And then by 1997, he headed this subsidiary of Enron Energy Services. Internally, he was referred to as the Invisible Enron CEO. Okay? Now, Pie's frequent strip club visits during his time with Enron led to an affair with a stripper, Melanie Fuel, who was also married. Lou was married. The stripper was married. He got the stripper pregnant. Resulted in a pregnancy, okay? So he's a high-ranking exec at Enron. He fucking loves strippers.
And love fucking them, too.
Loves one too much, has an affair with her, gets her pregnant. Now, upon learning of the affair, Pie's then wife of over 20 years, Lana Lee, with whom he has 2 children, filed for divorce. Because,
Yeah.
So this is where it gets really interesting. To satisfy the financial terms of his divorce settlement, Pie cashed out approximately $250 million of his Enron stock just months before the company's stock price dramatically collapsed and it filed for bankruptcy protection. So right before shit hits the fan with Enron, this dude gets out for a clean reason because he's going through a divorce, right? So after the divorce, Lou marries Fuel, the stripper. So I guess she got divorced too.
Yeah.
And then he actually married her, made her an honest woman, you know? Other Enron executives that sold stock before the collapse of the company got investigated because it was, they could clearly see what was coming. They were cashing out. That's illegal.
Right.
That's insider trading. And then a lot of those guys went to jail, but not Lou. because he loved strippers so much. So he was not charged with any criminal wrongdoing in the Enron scandal. He exercised his Fifth Amendment rights in regard to the subsequent Enron class action lawsuits. As a result of one lawsuit, he forfeited $6 million that was due to him from Enron's insurance policy for company officers. He had to put that $6 million in a fund for Enron shareholders who got screwed. Part of the Enron story is a lot of people lost like their life savings. Mm-hmm. A lot of it, all the investors got completely fucked. But he dodged a massive, massive bullet because he went full T-Pain and fell in love with a stripper, which is just not something you hear about happening very often. So again, joined Enron in 1987 when it was just a regional energy supplier. He became one of the eventual CEO Jeffrey Skilling's top lieutenants. Some of the top Enron guys, their kids went to school with me.
Oh, no shit.
When I was growing up in middle school, yeah.
So did you know, like, did any, like...
I didn't know the guys. I knew two of the kids of, like, top
But did,
level...
like, those, like, families get, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was, like, suicides and it got really, really ugly. Prison time, suicides. Yeah. So he was primarily tasked with detailing and implementing Skilling's vision of transforming Enron into a de facto energy commodities trading firm. And during his Enron career, Skilling put Pai in charge of multiple Enron subsidiaries. He was the CEO of Enron Energy Services, a subsidiary from March 1997 until May 2001. So I guess it was early 2000s when the Enron shit hit the fan. The reasons for his resignation from Enron remain shrouded in mystery. It says, despite a reputation for being extremely introverted, taciturn, and reclusive around the office, Pai also came to symbolize the legendary lavishness and excesses of Enron's corporate culture. It was very Wolf of Wall Street-y.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way. Though married, Pai was known to spend inordinate amounts of time during and after work hours in the Houston area strip clubs, use the Enron corporate jet for personal commuting, and charge several $100s worth of lunches for himself and accompanying staff to the corporate expense account until Chairman Ken Lay later prohibited it. But so he left Enron with over $250 million. That's a quarter of a bee nut, if you watched Mountainhead. Pai was the second largest landowner in Colorado after he purchased a 77,500 acre Taylor Ranch for $23 million in 1999. He sold that property in June of 2004 for $60 million, more than doubled up. Now Pai and his former stripper mistress, now wife, went on to operate Cannon Ranch, which was located near metropolitan Houston, where they raised and trained dressage horses. They later moved from Sugar Land, Texas to Middleburg, Virginia. They opened a second Cannon Ranch there. It looks like his kids probably run it now. When I looked up Cannon Ranch, it's two people with his last name. From
his first wife or his stripper wife?
I think from his first wife.
Okay.
Because it says, pulling up their names really quick, Melanie Pai is one of the ones who owns it. And I think that's one of his kids from his first marriage, if I'm not mistaken. More recently, it looks like him and his family moved to Wellington, Florida. Now, part of the reason we're doing this stuff to Wikipedia when you're high today is because I saw this story come across my Twitter feed in the form of like, it was like somebody screenshotted like 7 bullet points of this crazy story about this guy who basically avoided prison because he cheated on his wife with a stripper who he got pregnant, and then he got divorced, and as part of the divorce, he had sold a bunch of his stock, like a loophole. Mm-hmm. And part of that tweet I saw was that like he basically never got in trouble, which is only partially correct, because on July 30th, 2008, he agreed to resolve civil insider trading charges against him with an out-of-court settlement of $31.5 million, including $1.5 million in civil fines and $30 million in restitution, to be deposited into a fund for shareholders harmed by Enron's bankruptcy. So he did have to cough something up eventually. But that was like, 30 mil is less than he made from selling that one ranch.
Right.
So I'm not sure that really put much of a dent in Lou's livelihood. It says he continues to neither admit nor deny the Securities and Exchange Commission claims that he sold millions of shares of Enron stock based on non-public information about the company's financial problems. So all you really needed was to get divorced so that you could use that as an excuse, and then you would have been fine. And that's what Lou did. It is one of the largest settlements in the history of the SEC's enforcement program dealing with an individual for alleged insider trading. And as part of that settlement, he was also barred from serving as an officer or director of a public company for 5 years, which again, at that point, I mean, who gives a shit? And that is the story of Lou Pie.
What a guy.
More rhyming. When you're starting a business or running a startup, it can be incredibly intimidating and lonely because you're wearing so many different hats. Suddenly you're the marketing department, but you're also in charge of merchandising, and you're creating the content, and you're the HR department. It's ridiculous. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out by taking things off your plate, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer for millions of businesses. That tool is today's next sponsor, Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started like Chill Country, which we discussed earlier today. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you are ready to sell, you are ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into reality with Shopify on your side. Sign up for a $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/RBP. That's shopify.com/RBP, lowercase RBP, I would add. That's shopify.com/RBP to get that $1 per month trial period. So as Father's Day was this past Sunday,
Right. Yeah.
my wife, one of my gifts was a coupon book
Oh, yeah. Familiar with these.
called Daddy's Coupon Book, though. So no coupons to companies. They say the coupons say things like 1 hour nap
Yeah.
and like choose dinner tonight.
Yeah, they're like handmade coupons.
Yeah. But they're, they're not handmade. They're printed off.
Yeah.
Like some website or service
Sure, yeah.
sells them or whatever, It's good stuff. Now, when I was flipping through this coupon book, there's no limitation on how often I can use them, which is a mistake. There's no fine print.
There's no expiration date on them.
No. So I could use all these in 1 week and just have the best fucking week of my life. Easily.
Yeah.
In large part because there are several coupons at the end of the coupon book that are blank coupons where I can write in what I want
You
that
write your own
coupon to be for.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. And
Mine's running crazy.
I'm not sure my wife realizes this, but that was an incredibly risky and potentially foolish move. Now the rest of them are fine. Don't do the dishes for a week.
Yeah.
That's a good coupon. I'll cash that coupon for sure. But the blank ones at the end,
Got to save those for rainy day. I don't
that's
know.
when the magic happens. And I don't know what I'm going to do with those yet, or how far I want to push that envelope. But I got some ideas.
Yeah.
I got a lot of ideas, Kade.
Oh, I bet.
That's pretty much all I thought about this week.
It's a blank canvas. It's
It's like being given a blank check,
yeah.
and I'm an artist.
You are an artist, yeah.
I'm going to figure some shit out. So I'm stoked about that. Daddy's Coupon Book. I'm going to put that thing to good use. Oh, by the way, June is also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
We just got all the stuff. We got Pride Month. We got Chicken Leg Pride Month, and
It's a big month, Cade.
Men's Mental Health
My
Awareness.
birthday, Father's Day,
Yeah.
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
A lot going on in June.
Yeah.
But men's mental health is so bad that we get our own month. Some of you may remember, May, the month just before June, was Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
So men's mental health is so bad that literally the very next month is officially Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
For it, yeah.
But not even our own month, like later down in the year.
It's right after, like
We just have 2 full months in a row, if you're a man,
Yeah.
where you're supposed to be aware of your mental health on a different level. I Googled, and women do not get their own month, which is something.
It is something, yeah.
It's a little suspicious. Anyway, on a serious note, it is a huge issue for men that we don't talk about shit when we're going through it, because historically society has told us that to talk about your feelings as a man makes you a pussy.
Right.
This is like half the premise of The Sopranos. Like in the pilot episode, episode 1, season 1, Tony Soprano says to his psychiatrist, let me tell you something. Nowadays, everybody's got to talk to shrinks and counselors and go on Sally Jesse Raphael and talk about their problems. What happened to Gary Cooper, the strong, silent type? That was an American. He wasn't in touch with his feelings. He just did what he had to do. See, what they didn't know was once they got Gary Cooper in touch with his feelings, that they wouldn't be able to shut him up. And then it's dysfunction this and dysfunction that and dysfunction va-fangul. And that, first of all, very funny scene.
Yeah.
It's also, just as a sidebar, it is the scene that they had everyone auditioning for Tony Soprano read.
Oh, yeah.
And there's video. You can go watch James Gandolfini do his reading of that scene.
Yeah, it's in that like documentary.
Yeah,
they did.
yeah. What was it? It was called shit. I can't. Wise Guy, David Chase.
Yeah,
something like that.
something
Yeah,
like
it's on
that.
HBO. Awesome documentary. If you love The Sopranos, highly recommend that. Talked about it on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles some. And in this vein, what was it? The week before last, I think. My memory's not good because I've been sick all week. I've just been in bed. It feels like I've been living in a fucking like a wormhole. With no time or space. But the owners and operators and founders of Chill Country Edibles, one of our sponsors for today's show, they do a podcast called Y'all Need Therapy. And it's kind of in its infancy. I think I was the 8th episode, their second guest ever, and the 8th episode of the show. But I went and did Y'all Need Therapy, and I talked for 2 hours. The episode is literally an hour and 55 minutes long, so I think they edited it some, I hope.
Cut some of it out, yeah.
But it was a 2-hour recording session where I walked through basically my entire mental health journey, starting with my first panic attack at 21 years old, and then really getting into the details of my experience in therapy, particularly over the last 5 years. Now, if you're a member of patreon.com/Ross Bolin podcast and you've listened to all the mental health minisodes that I've done, then you've probably heard some of this stuff. But this episode of Y'all Need Therapy, it's just titled YNT8 Ross Bolin. It got put up today. It's long, but it is the most detailed and complete accounting of my mental health experience and everything I have learned through many, over 100 hours of therapy at this point. Because how many weeks are there in a year?
52.
So if I've been going once a week for 3 years now, definitely over 100, probably closer to 200 hours of therapy that I've done at this point. Because I started going once a week, 6 months out from my son's birth. And prior to that, I was going twice a month for a couple years. So I have a lot of experience in therapy and talk therapy. I had a lot of experience in psychiatry prior to that. I talk about that as well. And my experience with all this, it's not that it's not relatable to women. It's just more relatable to men because I am a man. And because of the whole stigma around therapy that I just outlined through that Tony Soprano quote, is something that I used to struggle with a lot. Because like I said, I started having panic attacks at 21. That was 17 years ago. And I didn't start really working on this until I was like 30. Not really. So it took me 9 years to even get to a point where I wanted to talk about things and work on things and figure out what the hell was going on with me and learn about myself. And then it didn't really kick into high gear until I was 33, 34. So removing that stigma, especially for men, and just look, as a man, in my experience, like dudes are not good at talking about serious shit. We don't open up to each other. We don't talk about our struggles. We don't talk about our pain. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be looked at as weak. And it is ironically terrible for us. It makes everything significantly harder. And in my experience, women are so much better at this. It's part of the reason I've never had a male therapist or psychiatrist. Well, I guess technically my first one was a guy, but that was just one meeting, and he just gave me 100 Xanax and told me to fuck off. So, perfect point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, It's gotten better. One of the things I outline on Y'all Need Therapy is that, I think 2020 really opened up this conversation of mental health to the masses and made it a little more comfortable for men, for guys to talk about what they've got going on inside their heads rather than just bottle it the fuck up and make themselves and everyone around them miserable for the rest of their lives. But because we are nearing the end of Men's Mental Health Month and I haven't really talked about it yet, I wanted to touch on it here today and also point y'all to this episode of Y'all Need Therapy. Like I said, it's long. You may have to break it up into multiple listening sessions, but I get DMs and tweets and shit regularly from people like, is there an episode where you touch on like all of your mental health shit at once? And I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know. We've done like 800 episodes of this show at this point. I talk about it, irregularly throughout the course of all of those episodes. But like I said, this Y'all Need Therapy episode is a very complete version of my story, and it's with two other guys who are both in therapy, and two other guys, one of which has had some really serious mental health struggles over the course of his basically entire life. So it was a good sounding board, They're both roughly my age as well, both have kids, both married. So there was just it was a lot of healthy discourse between three men for 2 straight freaking hours. I was exhausted for multiple days afterward, and I want to make sure it was worth it. So I want people to go listen to it because I was really, really proud of the end result. And I think if you are a guy who has struggled with anxiety or depression or anything in the mental health realm, and you've never really known what to do about it or never wanted to do anything about it, just go listen to this show. I think it will help you a lot to hear from 3 men who are lucky enough to be in a position where talking about this shit is not so difficult for us. And at this point, it is something I really enjoy doing. I like sharing with people. I like sharing my story. I like when Kade and I get to talk about this stuff on occasion on our show. Kade also has quite a bit of experience in therapy at this point. And it means a lot to me to be able to do that. And at the same time, like when I got out of that studio, I had like nothing left in the tank.
Yeah, you're just drained.
I was so drained because it was so heavy to get all that out of me in one sitting. And it was also really helpful and healthy. And I felt like I turned a big page mentally, and just being able to get all that out in one place, in one episode. So go listen to Y'all Need Therapy, episode 8. And let me know what you think. Holler at me on social media at WRBolin because I wanna hear feedback from people as well. But yeah, this is still something we really need to work on as men. The ability to talk to each other, share with each other. I have a group of friends, 6 deep from just suffice it to say, like high school, that we have a text group that we still regularly keep up with each other. And even with these guys who I've gone through like 20 years of life with, we still almost never, and I mean almost never, talk about anything serious.
Nothing deep.
No. Sports, dumb jokes, video games. We used to talk about the news, but now there's like political beef within our group chat, and we can't talk about that shit anymore because everything's been politicized. So there's like sidebars. There's like
We got like mini group chats.
Republican and Democrat sidebars. Yeah. Other like side group chats. But it amazes me. And we even bring up at times, like, I wish we talked about stuff.
Yeah.
But then no one ever does.
Nope.
It never
do.
changes.
Or if we do, it's usually when we're fucked up.
When you're drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is at least a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
But not really.
Not really. No.
Not really. That was
because you'll forget about like half the shit.
That's the problem. You don't tend to grab on to because in college I was the king of this shit.
Oh yeah.
Like if you got blackout drunk with me, we were gonna have a serious chat about life.
Oh yeah. Which honestly, like I love, like those are like great.
That's the best.
But again, yeah, you're not.
But it shouldn't take 15 beers
to open up
to get you there.
Yeah.
Smoking cigs on the porch at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's probably not the ideal circumstances for growth. So I hope it's something that continues to get easier. Now having a son, it's something that I hope to like impart to him, you know, that you need to be able to talk to your friends, or you need, at the very least, you need to be able to talk to me. It's something that me and my dad have gotten better at over the last decade, you know, because as a kid, that wasn't really a thing. Like I said, like the stigma was too strong. The stereotypes are too deeply embedded in men, in our culture especially. But it's not even, there's a lot of issues we talk about that are like, these are American issues, Western issues, but this is not even that. This is a worldwide fucking problem. Mm-hmm. And it still needs to change. And so, if, you know, for all the guys listening, just try, man. If you're going through some shit, like try to open it, because it has to start with someone in your friend group. And then hopefully, you know, it snowballs. But if you're going through something and you're in a friend group where y'all don't really talk about serious shit or open up to each other, be the first one to do it and just see what happens. It may not work the first time. It might get really fucking awkward. You might not get much of a response. It's very likely, in fact. But you have to try, because somebody has to start the fucking party. And then maybe it'll go from there, you know? And if it doesn't work the first time, fucking try again later on. So that's all I have to say about that, Kade.
Yeah.
It sucks that we all have the same experience.
It really does. I will say, like you said, I've been going to therapy for quite a while now. I started my sophomore year of college. I just went to like a school counselor and she didn't do a great job. So I'm like, I'm not digging this therapy stuff. But then I found one over the summer. When I was back in Indiana, then I moved here. I didn't do it for like a year or two. And then I found a therapist here, and he's a guy. And it's actually interesting, like, because I feel like I can open it up to him pretty well. And like, he's like dealt with a lot of the same stuff as me too. So we can relate to it. And so like, I've actually enjoyed having like another dude as a therapist. Not to say like I would like mind having a female, but it's like, it's fine.
Well, it's a personal preference thing too.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I've gotten a lot out of it, and obviously there's a lot more I need to learn about therapy and just like about myself. But like, you've been doing it a lot longer than me, so like obviously there's a lot more.
Yeah, and that
I can learn,
especially over this past year, I've started to accept that like that's forever.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever get to a point where you're like, I've done it.
You don't think there's ever a point like I'm so fine now, like I don't need therapy?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because it becomes more of a maintenance tool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was all this stuff from like childhood and adulthood and trauma and shit that I needed to get like either closure on or an acceptance of or an understanding of. And that's the really heavy work. It's hard.
Yeah.
But now, for the most part, therapy, which I still go to weekly, serves as more of like, it's like maintenance. It's not like, let's delve into when I was 14 years old and the shit that like impacted me, or like, let's talk about my first panic attack. It's like a vent session almost.
Yeah.
Where I can just like anything that's been frustrating me or whatever I've been dealing with this week, or like anything that I want to maybe explore a little bit more or just get off my chest. Like that's what I use it for. Part of what I talk about on Y'all Need Therapy is that I think a lot of people have this idea that therapy is only for people who have been through really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And that is not true at all. And at some point in life, all of us do hit fucked up shit, for first of all. I don't think it's avoidable. But even if you've never been through anything that you would consider to be extremely serious or traumatic, that doesn't mean therapy wouldn't be useful for you, especially if you're experiencing anxiety that's impacting you enough to be a problem.
Yeah, like
or depression.
I've never had anything like super fucked up happen to me, but like it's still been very beneficial. I mean, mostly because of like the anxiety and depression stuff, but like I never had like a traumatizing experience where I'm like, fuck, I actually like need this.
Yeah, and I would also argue that just being alive is traumatizing, but especially in this day and age, man, it's because we're so exposed, we're so overexposed to everything that goes on everywhere. But opening up helps a lot. Just it's simpler than than you think it is. It's talking. That's it.
Yeah.
You're just talking. And the more you do it, the more easy it gets, and the more honest you can be, and the more you can open up and the more helpful it becomes. And you're kind of, in a way, setting yourself free from yourself. And it scares people. This idea, men in particular, scares us. What, am I going to go talk to some fucking stranger about my shit? Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Do it. It'll make you feel better. Why wouldn't you want to make yourself feel better? So, anyway, just wanted to touch on that in closing. Y'all go listen to Y'all Need Therapy. Go listen to that episode 8 and let me know what you think about it. Kade and I will be back next week. Make sure if you want more from this week, go to patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. We did another fun episode where we took hotline calls from listeners and responded to ridiculous prompts and questions and hypotheticals and talked through a bunch of shit that we've been up to lately. And check out Formula Bone, Jared's F1 podcast, J-Bone, for all the latest and greatest in the world of F1. Check out Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Kade was my co-host over the past 2 weeks while my normal co-host Barrett Dudley was on paternity leave. And Kade and I had a lot of fun discussing and reviewing 2 movies. 1, Sinners, and 2, Friendship, starring Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. We had a blast doing both. Go check that out. Go check those out as well. And we'll be back next week. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. Peace be with you.
And also with you.